The hand came fast, hard, right across her shoulder. Maya Torres didn't stumble. She didn't shout. She didn't even turn around. But her dog did. And the moment Coda's breathing stopped completely, the four men who thought they were filming a prank realized they had made a terrible mistake. Because the woman they just shoved wasn't just a tired mom at a festival. She was a Navy SEAL. And the dog sitting at her feet had been trained to do one thing: protect her at any cost. Now, before we show you exactly what happened next, drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Hit subscribe, turn on that bell, and stay until the end. Because what Coda did to the man who touched her will stay with you forever. Maya Torres hadn't slept more than 3 hours in 6 days. She stood at the edge of the parking lot, her hand resting on Coda's head, watching families stream toward the festival entrance. Children with balloons, couples holding hands, veterans in wheelchairs being pushed by grandchildren who didn't fully understand why today mattered. 18 months ago, she would have walked right in, head high, shoulders back, her husband Marcus beside her making jokes about the cheap hot dogs and watered-down lemonade. But Marcus wasn't beside her anymore. He was in a box at Arlington. And Maya was here alone because an 8-year-old girl needed her mother to show up. "Mom?" Maya turned. Lily stood 3 feet away wearing a yellow choir t-shirt 2 sizes too big. Her dark hair was pulled into a ponytail that was already falling apart. She looked exactly like Marcus. Same eyes, same stubborn chin, same way of tilting her head when she was worried. "I'm right here, baby." "You're not coming in." "I am. I just needed a minute." Lily walked closer. She looked down at Coda, then back up at her mother. "Is Coda okay?" Maya almost laughed. The dog was fine. The dog was always fine. He'd survived 3 deployments, 2 IED explosions, and a knife wound that should have killed him. A small-town festival in Virginia wasn't going to rattle him. But Maya, that was different. "He's perfect," she said. "Are you nervous about the song?" Lily shrugged. "A little." "You practiced 100 times." 106. "Then you'll be amazing." Lily didn't move. She stood there twisting the hem of her shirt between her fingers, staring at the ground. Maya knew that look. It was the same look Lily had worn at the funeral, standing between her aunt Elena and a flag-draped coffin. "Mom? Yeah? Are you going to cry?" Maya's throat tightened. "Maybe. Is that okay? Dad would want you to hear it." The words hit like a bullet. Maya knelt down her knees, pressing into the gravel, and pulled Lily into her arms. She held her daughter for a long moment, feeling the small heartbeat against her chest. "I'll be right there in the front row," Maya whispered. "I promise." Lily pulled back and smiled. It was the first real smile Maya had seen in weeks. "Aunt Elena said I have to go line up." "Then go. I'll find you after." Lily ran toward the entrance, her ponytail bouncing with each step. Maya watched until she disappeared into the crowd, then exhaled slowly. Coda pressed his muzzle against her palm. His eyes were locked on her face, reading her like he always did. The dog had been Marcus's partner for 4 years before he became hers. He'd carried Marcus's scent home on his fur the day the notification officers knocked on Maya's door. "Okay," she said quietly. "Let's do this." She adjusted Coda's vest, checking the straps, running her fingers over the letters, "Do not pet, service dog." Then she clicked her tongue once, and Coda fell into step beside her. They moved toward the entrance together. The festival was exactly what Maya had expected. Loud, crowded, overwhelming. Red, white, and blue banners hung from every tent. A brass band played somewhere near the main stage. The smell of grilled meat and sunscreen filled the air. Maya kept her head down, and walked along the perimeter, staying close to the fence line. Coda matched her pace perfectly, his shoulder brushing her thigh with every step. A woman's voice called out from behind. Maya Torres! Maya stopped, turned. A woman in an EMT jacket was walking toward her, waving. It took Maya a second to place the face. Rachel Odom. They'd worked together during the wildfire evacuations 2 years ago, before Marcus died, before everything changed. I thought that was you, Rachel said, stopping a few feet away. I haven't seen you since everything. Maya nodded. I've been keeping low. Rachel's eyes dropped to Coda. Is he still working? Observation hours. He needs the exposure. He looks calm. He's always calm. That's what makes him dangerous. Rachel laughed nervously, then caught herself. Sorry. I didn't mean. It's fine. There was an awkward silence. Maya could feel Rachel trying to find the right words, the way everyone tried to find the right words when they talked to a widow. I heard about Marcus, Rachel finally said. I'm so sorry. He was a good man. He was. If you ever need anything, I appreciate it. Rachel nodded, understanding the dismissal. She gave a small wave and walked back toward the EMT tent. Maya waited until she was gone, then kept moving. She found a spot near the back of the performance area behind the rows of folding chairs, where parents were already gathering. From here, she could see the stage without being in the middle of the crowd. Coda sat beside her, his body angled outward, scanning. Maya pulled out her phone. 3 text messages from Elena. Lily's group is up in 20 minutes. She keeps asking if you're here. Are you okay? Maya typed a quick reply. I'm here. Back row. Tell her I can see the stage. Then she slid the phone back into her pocket and tried to breathe. The air felt thick. Too many people. Too much noise. Her heart was beating faster than it should, and her palms were starting to sweat. This was supposed to get easier. That's what the therapist said. That's what Elena said. That's what everyone said. It wasn't getting easier. Maya closed her eyes and focused on Coda's breathing. Slow, steady, grounding. You're doing good, she whispered. We're both doing good. A burst of laughter exploded somewhere to her left. Maya's eyes snapped open. 4 young men were standing near the concession tents filming something on their phones. They looked early 20s, maybe younger. One of them had a camera on a gimbal, sweeping it around like he was directing a movie. Another was pointing at an elderly veteran in a wheelchair, mimicking his posture for the camera, while his friends laughed. Maya's jaw tightened. Coda's ears shifted forward. Easy, she murmured. The group moved on, still laughing, still filming. They approached a woman carrying a toddler and made exaggerated faces at the child until the mother hurried away. Maya watched them, her instincts firing. She knew their type. She'd seen them overseas in different uniforms with different languages. Young men who thought the world existed for their entertainment. Young men who never learned what it meant to respect something bigger than themselves. One of them, the tallest with a backward baseball cap, looked in her direction. Their eyes met. He smiled. Not a friendly smile. A measuring smile. The kind that said, I see you standing alone, and I'm deciding if you're worth my time. Maya didn't look away. Coda's body stiffened almost imperceptibly. His weight shifted forward by half an inch. The man with the cap said something to his friends, and they all glanced toward Maya. More laughter, more pointing. Then they moved on, disappearing into the crowd. Maya exhaled. Not yet, she said to Coda. Not yet. 15 minutes later, Maya was still standing in the same spot when a voice interrupted her thoughts. Hell of a dog you got there. She turned. An older man stood a few feet away, leaning on a cane. He looked about 70, maybe older, with gray hair beneath a faded army ball cap. His jacket had patches she recognized, K9 Unit Vietnam era, a Purple Heart ribbon pinned near the collar. "Thank you," Maya said. The man tilted his head, studying Coda. "Belgian Malinois. Military trained, unless I miss my guess." "You don't miss." He nodded slowly, something shifting in his eyes. Recognition. Understanding. "Name's Frank Holloway," he said. "Sergeant retired. Ran K9 operations in Da Nang 68 to 70. Maya Torres. That your daughter up there? Yellow shirt, back row of the choir." Maya's chest tightened. "How did you know? Same nose, same posture?" Frank smiled. "She keeps looking this way. I figure she's looking for someone who matters." Maya didn't respond. She didn't trust her voice. Frank stepped closer, his eyes still on Coda. "This dog's seen combat. I can tell by the way he sits. Nothing relaxed about him. He's not resting. He's assessing. He's good at his job." "I'll bet he is." Frank paused. "Your husband's dog." The question hit Maya like ice water. "How?" "The way you touch him," Frank said quietly. "Like you're holding on to something. Like he's the last piece of someone you lost." Maya's vision blurred. She blinked hard, forcing the tears back. "Marcus," she said. "His name was Marcus. He was killed 18 months ago. Overseas operation. They brought Coda home instead." Frank was quiet for a long moment. "My partner's name was Rex," he finally said. "German Shepherd. Best dog I ever knew. Saved my life twice. Died in my arms the day before we were supposed to come home. I'm sorry. Long time ago now, but I still remember his breathing, still feel his weight against my leg sometimes late at night." They stood together in silence, two strangers bound by losses that only certain people understand. "Your daughter's about to go on," Frank said, nodding toward the stage. "You should move closer. Let her see your face." "I will." Frank touched the brim of his cap. "It was an honor to meet you, Maya Torres. And you too, soldier." He limped away his cane, tapping against the ground. Maya watched him go, something loosening in her chest. For the first time all day, she felt like maybe she could do this. Maybe she could stand in a crowd and not feel like she was drowning. She started walking toward the front of the performance area. That's when she heard them again. The laughter was louder now, sharper. It came from somewhere behind her, near the walkway that led to the locker rooms. Maya stopped. Coda stopped. She knew before she even turned around that the four young men with the cameras were there. And she knew with the instinct that had kept her alive through 3 combat tours that they had seen her walking alone. She didn't turn around. She kept walking. But she heard footsteps behind her. 4 sets. Getting closer. "Hey." Maya didn't respond. "Hey, lady, I'm talking to you." She kept walking. "Yo, what's wrong with your dog? He looks like he's about to attack someone." Maya's hand moved to Coda's vest, her fingers brushing the release strap. "Slow," she whispered. "Stay with me." Coda's breathing changed. It became shallower, quieter. He was ready. The footsteps got closer. "Excuse me." A hand grabbed Maya's shoulder from behind and spun her around. She found herself face to face with the man in the backward cap. His friends stood behind him, phones raised, cameras rolling. "My buddy asked you a question," he said. "What's wrong with your dog?" Maya's voice was flat, controlled. "Nothing's wrong with him. Then why is he staring at me like that? Because you grabbed me. The man grinned. I didn't grab you. I tapped your shoulder. Relax. His friends laughed. Maya didn't move. She didn't blink. But Coda did something that none of them expected. He stepped forward, placing himself directly between Maya and the four men. His head lowered, his ears went flat, and a sound came from his throat, low and vibrating, that wasn't a growl. It was a warning, the kind of warning that only comes from an animal trained to kill. The man in the cap took a step back. Whoa, hey, your dog's freaking out, lady. He's not freaking out, Maya said quietly. He's doing exactly what he was trained to do. And what's that? Maya looked at him, looked through him. Deciding whether you're a threat. The man laughed nervously. A threat? I'm just asking a question. You put your hands on me. I barely touched you. Once is enough? There was a shift in the air. The laughter stopped. The phones lowered slightly. One of the other men, shorter with a patchy beard, spoke up. Come on, man. Let's just go. The dog's crazy. He's not crazy, Maya said. He's trained. There's a difference. The man in the cap stared at her for a long moment. Then he smiled again, that same measuring smile from before. You know what? You're kind of intense. I like that. He reached out his hand toward her face, and that's when Coda stopped breathing entirely. Maya saw it happen. The complete stillness, the shift in weight, the coiling of muscles that meant only one thing. Don't, she said. But the man didn't listen. His fingers brushed her cheek, and Coda exploded. The movement lasted less than a second. Coda's body launched sideways, cutting across Maya's hip like a guided missile. His jaws opened, then closed with surgical precision around the man's forearm. Not a bite, not a tear, a lock. A controlled, calculated hold that dropped the man to his knees before his brain could register what happened. The man screamed. His friend stumbled backward, phones clattering to the ground. Maya didn't move. Her hand was already raised, 2 fingers extended. Coda, hold. The dog's jaws tightened by a fraction, just enough to send a message. The man's scream became a whimper. What the? Get it off me! Don't move, Maya said. Her voice was ice. If you move, he'll adjust. You don't want him to adjust. The man froze. His face had gone white. Tears streamed down his cheeks. His friends stood paralyzed, staring at the scene like they couldn't process what they were seeing. Call 911, one of them shouted. Someone call 911. Nobody's calling anyone, Maya said. Not yet. She stepped closer, keeping her eyes locked on the man's face. What's your name? He couldn't answer. His mouth opened and closed, but only gasping sounds came out. I asked you a question. Derek. My name's Derek. Derek. Look at me. He looked. Do you understand what's happening right now? He shook his head frantically. My dog is trained to hold until I give the release command. He's not biting, he's controlling. The pressure you feel, that's about 30% of what he's capable of. If I tell him to increase, he will. If I tell him to release, he will. Everything that happens in the next 60 seconds depends entirely on you. Derek's body shook. I didn't mean it, he gasped. I was just messing around. I didn't know. You didn't know what. I didn't know the dog would. The dog responded because you put your hands on me. Twice. I'm sorry. Please. Maya studied his face. The terror was real. The regret was real. But she'd seen men like him before. Men who apologized when they were caught and went right back to their behavior when they thought no one was watching. Coda. Release. The dog's jaws opened instantly. Derek's arm dropped, and he collapsed onto the gravel, cradling his forearm against his chest. Coda didn't bark, didn't advance. He simply repositioned himself in front of Maya, chest low, eyes scanning the other 3 men. "Nobody touch him," Maya said. One of the friends, the one with the patchy beard, raised his hands. "We're not touching anyone. We're not doing anything. Just tell us what to do. Stay exactly where you are." A crowd had begun to form. Parents pulled their children back. A woman covered her mouth with her hand. 2 men in firefighter t-shirts pushed through, stopping short when they saw Koda's posture. "Everyone back up," one of them called. "Give them space." Derek was crying now, full heaving sobs that shook his entire body. "My arm," he whimpered. "I think he broke my arm." "He didn't break anything," Maya said. "If he wanted to break it, you wouldn't have an arm left." Derek looked up at her, and for the first time, Maya saw something beyond the fear. She saw the question that was forming in his mind, the question everyone in the crowd was starting to ask. "Who is this woman?" A voice answered before Derek could speak. "That's a seal dog." Maya turned. Frank Holloway was pushing through the crowd, his cane tapping against the ground with each step. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. "I've seen that hold before," Frank continued. "That's not police training. That's not military police. That's special operations. Naval special warfare, if I had to guess." The crowd murmured. Derek's friends exchanged glances. "What are you talking about?" one of them asked. "She's just some lady with a—" "She's not just some lady." Frank stopped beside Maya, studying Koda with the practiced eye of someone who had spent decades working with combat dogs. That animal is trained to neutralize threats in environments where mistakes get people killed. The fact that your friend still has a working arm means she showed him mercy. Derek stared at Maya. You're military." Maya didn't answer. "Ma'am?" Frank's voice was gentle now. "May I—" She nodded. Frank reached out slowly, palm flat, and placed his hand on Koda's head. The dog allowed it without flinching. "What's his name?" "Koda." "How long did he serve?" 4 years, 3 deployments. "And his handler before you?" Maya's jaw tightened. "My husband." The words landed like stones in still water. Frank's hand stopped moving. He looked at Maya, really looked at her, and understanding flooded his face. "He didn't come home. Koda did. Marcus didn't." Frank removed his hand from the dog's head. He took off his cap and held it against his chest. "Then this dog is still on mission," he said quietly. "He's protecting the most important thing his handler left behind." Maya's vision blurred. She blinked hard, refusing to let the tears fall. "Not here. Not in front of these people." "Mom!" The voice cut through everything. Maya spun around. Lily was running toward her, pushing through the crowd, her yellow choir shirt flapping behind her. Elena was right behind, trying to catch up. "Mom! Mom, what happened? Someone said there was a fight." Maya dropped to her knees and caught Lily in her arms. "I'm okay," she whispered. "I'm okay. Nothing happened." "But people are saying Koda bit someone." "He didn't bite. He protected." Lily pulled back her eyes wide. "Protected you from what?" Maya glanced over her shoulder at Derek, still sitting on the ground, still cradling his arm. "From someone who made a bad choice." Elena reached them breathless. "Maya, what the hell happened?" "I was getting Lily ready for the performance and someone came running in saying there was an attack. There wasn't an attack. There was an incident. It's handled." "Handled?" "There's a man on the ground. He'll be fine. His pride is hurt more than his arm." Elena looked at Koda, then at Maya, then back at Koda. "Jesus. The dog did exactly what he was trained to do." A siren wailed in the distance. Frank stepped forward. "Someone called the police. They'll want a statement." "I know. You want me to stay? Explain what I saw." Maya looked at him. This stranger who understood more about her life than most of the people she'd known for years. "I'd appreciate that." The police car pulled up 3 minutes later. 2 officers stepped out, a man and a woman, both scanning the scene with practiced efficiency. The female officer approached first. "Someone want to tell me what happened here?" Derek's friend, the one with the camera, jumped in immediately. "That dog attacked my buddy. She just let it maul him for no reason." "That's not what happened," Frank said, his voice cutting through the noise. "I watched the whole thing. Those 4 men surrounded this woman. One of them put his hands on her twice. The dog responded with a controlled hold, non-lethal, released on command." The male officer knelt beside Derek. "Sir, can you show me your arm?" Derek extended it. The officer examined the marks, red pressure lines visible on the skin, but no puncture wounds, no blood. "This isn't a bite," the officer said. "This is a restraint." A restraint! He had my arm in his mouth. And he could have taken it off. He didn't. The officer stood. "Ma'am, is this your dog?" Maya nodded. "Is he registered as a service animal?" She reached into her jacket and pulled out a small ID folder. The officer opened it, scanned the contents, and his posture changed immediately. "Your former military?" "Navy. Special operations." The female officer stepped closer. "And the dog? Combat-trained K9. Special warfare designation. He deployed with my husband before he was killed in action." Silence. Derek's friends had stopped talking. The crowd had stopped murmuring. Even the distant festival music seemed to fade. The male officer handed back Maya's ID. "I'm sorry for your loss, ma'am." "Thank you. Do you wish to press charges?" Maya looked at Derek. He was still on the ground, tears drying on his cheeks, arm pressed against his chest. He looked young. He looked scared. He looked exactly like the kind of man who had never faced a real consequence in his life. "Stand up," Maya said. Derek blinked. "Stand up." He struggled to his feet, swaying slightly. Maya walked toward him and he flinched backward. Coda moved with her, but she held up one hand and the dog stopped. "Look at me." Derek looked. "You thought I was an easy target, a woman alone. A dog you didn't take seriously. You thought you could put your hands on me because you've probably done it before and nothing happened." He didn't deny it. "I could press charges. I could make sure this follows you for years. But I'm not going to do that." Relief flooded his face. "Thank you. Thank you so much. I swear I'll never—" "I'm not finished." He shut up. "I'm not pressing charges because I don't need the legal system to teach you this lesson. You just learned it the hard way. You learned that some people don't look dangerous until they need to be. You learned that some dogs aren't pets. And you learned that putting your hands on a stranger can have consequences you never imagined." She stepped closer. Close enough that he could see the scars on her forearms. Close enough that he could smell the years of service on her skin. "Next time you see a woman alone, remember this moment. Remember what it felt like to be on the ground crying, wondering if you were about to lose your arm. And then walk away. Do you understand?" He nodded frantically. "Say it." "I understand." "Say what you understand." I understand that I should never put my hands on someone without permission. Ever." "Good." Maya stepped back. The female officer had been taking notes. She looked up. "Ma'am, I have to say that was more effective than anything the court system would have done." "Hopefully." Frank stepped forward again, his cap still in his hand. "Officers, I'd like to make a formal statement about what I witnessed. These men were harassing festival attendees before they targeted this woman. They were filming people without consent and mocking a disabled veteran in a wheelchair. Derek's friends shifted nervously. "Is that true?" the male officer asked. Nobody answered. "We have multiple witnesses," the officer continued, "and I'm guessing we have phone footage from at least a dozen people." "It was just jokes," one of the friends muttered. "We weren't trying to hurt anyone." "Intent doesn't matter," Maya said. "Impact does." Elena stepped forward, pulling Lily close. "Maya, the performance. It's starting in 5 minutes." Maya's heart stuttered. She had almost forgotten. The whole reason she came here. The whole reason she forced herself out of the house into the crowd, into the world she'd been hiding from for 18 months. Lily's song. The song she wrote for her father. "Go," Frank said. "I'll handle things here." "Are you sure?" "Ma'am, I've been waiting 40 years to stand up for someone who reminds me of myself. Let me have this." Maya looked at him for a long moment. Then she nodded. "Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Maya, for showing these boys what strength actually looks like." She turned to Lily. "Come on, baby. Let's go hear your song." Lily grabbed her mother's hand, and together with Coda walking silently beside them, they moved toward the stage. Behind them, Derek and his friends stood surrounded by officers and witnesses. Cameras were rolling now, but not the ones they controlled. Bystanders were filming. Someone was already posting to social media. In a few hours, the video would go viral. But Maya didn't know that yet. All she knew was that her daughter was about to sing, and for the first time in 18 months, she felt strong enough to listen. The walk to the performance area felt longer than it should have. Maya held Lily's hand, weaving through families and vendors past the food trucks and the balloon stands. Coda moved beside them. His body finally relaxed, his breathing steady. Elena walked on the other side of Lily, glancing at Maya every few seconds, like she was waiting for something to break. "You okay?" Elena asked quietly. "I'm fine." "Maya." "I said I'm fine." "You just had a dog take down a grown man. That's not fine." Coda did what he was trained to do. I did what I was trained to do. It's over. Elena opened her mouth to argue, then closed it. She knew better than to push when Maya used that voice. Lily tugged on Maya's hand. "Mom, yeah, baby. Is Coda going to get in trouble?" Maya looked down at her daughter's worried face and felt her chest tighten. "No. Coda protected me. That's his job." But the man was crying. Sometimes people cry when they learn hard lessons. Lily thought about that for a moment. "Like when I cried after I touched the stove, even though you told me not to, despite everything." Maya almost smiled. Exactly like that. They reached the performance area just as the announcer was calling for the children's choir to take their places. Parents filled the folding chairs, phones raised ready to capture every off-key note and missed lyric. Maya stayed at the back, near the edge of the crowd. She didn't want to be surrounded. Didn't want to feel trapped. Elena touched her arm. "I'm going to go help Lily get in line. Will you be okay here?" "I'll be fine." "You keep saying that." "Because it keeps being true." Elena gave her a long look, then walked toward the stage with Lily. Maya watched them go. Coda pressed against her leg. "I know," she whispered. "I know." The announcer's voice crackled through the speakers. "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Riverside Elementary School Choir." Applause rippled through the crowd. Maya's heart pounded. The children filed onto the small stage, their yellow shirts bright against the afternoon light. Lily was in the back row, almost hidden behind a taller boy with red hair. Maya moved sideways, trying to get a better view. The choir director, a young woman with glasses and an enthusiastic smile, raised her hands. "We have a very special performance today," she said into the microphone. "One of our students wrote an original song to honor someone who means the world to her. Please give a warm welcome to Lily Torres." Maya stopped breathing. She hadn't known. She hadn't known Lily would be performing alone. The other children stepped back, creating space, and Lily walked forward to the microphone. She looked so small up there, so fragile. But when she lifted her chin and looked out at the crowd, Maya saw something else. She saw Marcus. The same determination. The same courage. The same stubborn refusal to be afraid. "This song is for my dad," Lily said, her voice clear and steady. "He was a Navy SEAL. He died last year, but I know he's still watching." A murmur passed through the audience. Maya's hands began to shake. Lily closed her eyes, took a breath, and began to sing. "When the stars come out at night, I look up and find your light. You're not gone. You're just away watching over me every day." Maya's knees buckled. She caught herself on a nearby chair, gripping the metal back so hard her knuckles went white. The voice that came from her daughter's mouth wasn't the voice of an 8-year-old. It was something older, something that had been forged in grief and shaped by loss. "You taught me to be brave, to stand when I'm afraid. And even though you're not right here, I still feel you, Daddy, dear." Tears streamed down Maya's face. She didn't wipe them away. She couldn't. Her hands wouldn't move. Coda pressed harder against her leg, a low whine escaping his throat. He felt it too. The weight of the moment. The echo of the man who had raised him, trained him, loved him. "Mommy says you're in the sky, flying high where eagles fly. But I know you're closer still in my heart, and always will." A woman in the front row began to cry openly. A man in a veteran's cap removed his hat and placed it over his heart. An elderly couple held hands, their weathered faces soft with recognition. Maya couldn't see any of them. She could only see Lily. Her daughter. Her miracle. The only piece of Marcus that still breathed and laughed and sang. "So I'll be strong like you told me to. I'll make you proud in all I do. And when I grow up big and tall, I'll remember you through it all." The final note hung in the air like a prayer. Silence. Then applause. Thunderous, overwhelming applause. People stood. Strangers who didn't know Lily's name, who didn't know Marcus's story, who had no connection to the Torres family at all. They stood because they recognized truth when they heard it. Lily bowed awkwardly, her cheeks flushed, her eyes searching the crowd, looking for Maya. Their eyes met, and Lily smiled. That smile broke something open inside Maya, something she had been holding together with sheer willpower for 18 months, something she had refused to let anyone see, not Elena, not the therapist, not the notification officers who knocked on her door with flags and condolences. She started walking. The crowd parted without being asked. She walked past the folding chairs, past the parents with their cameras, past the choir director who was still clapping. She walked until she reached the edge of the stage. Lily jumped down without waiting for help. Maya caught her. She pulled her daughter into her arms and held on like the world was ending, like nothing else existed except this moment, this child, this breath. "I heard it," Maya whispered. "I heard every word." Lily's arms wrapped around her neck. "Did I do good, Mommy?" "You did perfect. You did absolutely perfect. I wrote it for Daddy, but I wanted you to hear it too." Maya's body shook with sobs she couldn't control. "He heard it, baby. I promise you. Wherever he is, he heard it." Coda circled them, his body protective. his eyes scanning the crowd even in this moment of grief. Still guarding, still watching, still carrying out the mission Marcus gave him. Elena appeared beside them, tears streaming down her own face. "Lily," she said, her voice cracking. "That was beautiful." "Thanks, Aunt Elena." "Where did you learn to sing like that?" Lily pulled back from Maya's embrace and shrugged. "Daddy used to sing to me when I was little, before he went away the last time." The words hit Maya like a physical blow. She hadn't known that either. There were so many things she didn't know. So many private moments between father and daughter that happened while she was deployed or training or gone. Marcus had been both parents for long stretches of time. He had done the bedtime songs and the morning pancakes and the homework help. And then he was gone, and all those moments went with him. Except they didn't. They lived on in Lily, in her voice, in her courage, in the way she stood on that stage and sang for a father she would never see again. "Mom?" Maya wiped her eyes. "Yeah. Can we get ice cream?" The question was so ordinary, so perfectly 8 years old, that Maya laughed through her tears. "Yes. Yes, we can get ice cream." They started walking toward the food vendors, the three of them, plus Coda, moving through a crowd that seemed different now. Softer. More aware. People nodded at Maya as she passed. Some murmured, "Thank you for your service." Others simply smiled that knowing smile of people who have witnessed something sacred. They found an ice cream cart near the edge of the festival grounds. Lily ordered strawberry. Elena got vanilla. Maya couldn't eat, but she bought a cup of chocolate and held it in her hands, letting the cold seep into her palms. They sat on a bench, eating in silence. Lily finished first, her face smeared with pink. "Mom? Yeah, that man, the one Coda hurt. Is he going to be okay?" Maya considered the question. "He'll be fine. His arm will heal. But I think his pride will take longer." "What's pride?" "It's when you think you're better than other people. When you treat them badly because you don't think there will be consequences." Lily nodded slowly. "Daddy used to say that everybody matters, even the people who don't look important." Maya's throat closed up again. "Your daddy was right. Is that why Coda protected you, because you matter? That's part of it. What's the other part?" Maya looked at the dog sitting at her feet. His eyes were calm now, his body relaxed, but she knew that could change in an instant. "The other part is that Coda loved your daddy. And when Daddy couldn't protect us anymore, Coda took over. It's his way of keeping Daddy's promise." Lily reached down and placed her hand on Coda's head. The dog didn't flinch. He leaned into the touch. "Good boy," Lily whispered. "Good boy, Coda." A voice interrupted them. "Mrs. Torres." Maya looked up. A man in his 60s stood nearby holding a small American flag. He wore a Marine Corps jacket, patches faded but visible, and his eyes were red-rimmed. "I'm sorry to bother you," he said. I heard what happened, with the young men, and then I heard your daughter sing." Maya nodded, but didn't speak. "I served 3 tours in Vietnam, lost my best friend over there, never talked about it for 40 years. But watching your little girl up on that stage..." He paused, struggling to find words. "She reminded me that it's okay to remember. It's okay to honor the ones we lost." He held out the flag. "This was going to go on my friend's memorial, but I think your daughter should have it. For her daddy." Lily looked at Maya. "Can I take it, Mom?" Maya's voice was barely a whisper. "Yes, baby, you can take it." Lily accepted the flag with both hands, holding it carefully, reverently. "Thank you," she said to the old Marine. "Thank you," he replied, "for reminding an old man what courage looks like." He walked away, his shoulders a little straighter than before. Elena exhaled shakily. This day, Maya. This entire day. I know. Are you going to be okay? Maya looked at Lily sitting beside her with an ice cream-stained face and a flag in her lap. She looked at Coda, still vigilant, still devoted. She looked at the crowd of strangers who had witnessed her worst moment and her best moment within the span of an hour. I don't know, she said honestly, but I think I'm closer than I was this morning. A phone buzzed. Elena pulled hers out, glanced at the screen, and her expression changed. Oh my God. What? The video, from earlier, the one of Coda. What about it? Elena turned the screen toward Maya. It has 2 million views. Maya stared at the number. 2 million people had watched her dog take down the man who touched her. 2 million people had seen her stand over him calm and controlled while he cried on the ground. How is that possible? It just happened. Someone posted it with the caption, Navy SEAL's dog defends her from harassers. It's going viral. Maya felt something cold settle in her stomach. She had spent 18 months hiding. 18 months avoiding cameras, avoiding attention, avoiding anything that might connect her to the world she used to inhabit. And now, in less than an hour, she had become visible again. Very, very visible. Mom, Lily tugged on her sleeve. What does viral mean? It means a lot of people are watching. Watching what? Me and Coda. Is that bad? Maya didn't answer. She didn't know. Frank Holloway appeared again, making his way through the crowd with his cane. He stopped in front of their bench, slightly out of breath. I figured you should know, he said. The local news just showed up. They're asking about you. I don't talk to reporters. I told them that. But they're persistent. They can be as persistent as they want. I have nothing to say. Frank studied her face. You might want to reconsider. Why? Because the story they're going to tell isn't just about a dog taking down some punk kid. It's about a widow, a veteran, a mother, and a little girl who just sang the most honest song anyone in this town has heard in years. He gestured toward the entrance. The camera crews are already setting up. If you don't tell your story, they'll tell it for you, and they won't get it right. Maya looked at Elena, who looked back helplessly. He's got a point, Elena said quietly. Remember what happened after Marcus died, the stories they ran. Maya remembered. The news outlets that called Marcus a hero, but got every detail wrong. The reporters who showed up at her door asking how it felt to lose a husband. The photographers who tried to sneak pictures at the funeral. She had hated them. All of them. But Frank was right. If she stayed silent now, they would fill in the blanks themselves. They would turn her into a symbol. A victim. A story. She wasn't any of those things. She was a woman who protected herself. A mother who showed up for her daughter. A warrior who never stopped fighting, even when the war came home. Fine, she said. I'll talk to them. Elena's eyes widened. Are you sure? No, but I'm going to do it anyway. She stood up, brushing off her jeans. Lily, stay with Aunt Elena. I'll be back soon. Where are you going? To tell some people the truth. Lily smiled. Like Daddy always said, tell the truth and don't be scared. Maya's heart cracked open one more time. Exactly like that. She walked toward the entrance, Coda beside her, Frank following a few steps behind. The cameras were waiting. And for the first time in 18 months, Maya Torres was ready to let the world see who she really was. The first camera found her before she was ready. A young reporter with too much hairspray and not enough experience practically ran toward Maya, microphone extended like a weapon. Mrs. Torres, Can you confirm that you're the woman from the viral video? Maya kept walking. Mrs. Torres, the video shows your dog attacking a young man. Do you have any comment? Frank stepped between them, his cane tapping sharply on the ground. Give her space. She'll talk when she's ready. Sir, the public has a right to know. The public can wait 30 seconds. The reporter backed off, but her cameraman kept filming. Maya stopped near a cluster of media vans. 3 more reporters approached their crews trailing behind them. She counted 4 cameras, maybe 5. All pointed at her. Coda pressed against her leg. Easy, she murmured. We're okay. A woman in her 40s stepped forward. She carried herself differently than the others, more composed, more patient. Mrs. Torres, I'm Sarah Chen from Channel 7. I know you've had a difficult day. Would you be willing to give us a few minutes on your terms? Maya studied her face. What do you mean, my terms? I mean you talk, we listen. No gotcha questions. No editing to make you look bad. Just your story and your words. Why should I trust you? Sarah didn't flinch. Because I was embedded with the Marines in Fallujah for 18 months. I know what service looks like, and I know what it costs. Something shifted in Maya's chest. You were a war correspondent. For 12 years. Retired 3 years ago when my husband got sick. Sarah paused. He was Army. Ranger Regiment. He didn't make it. Maya's throat tightened. I'm sorry. So am I. Sarah's voice softened. That's why I'm giving you a choice. Talk to me or talk to them. But if you walk away without saying anything, they'll write whatever story gets the most clicks, and you'll spend the next month correcting lies. Frank touched Maya's elbow. She's right. Better to control the narrative. Maya looked at Coda. The dog's eyes were fixed on her face, waiting for a command that would never come. Because this wasn't a situation he could solve with teeth and training. This was something she had to face alone. Fine, she said. But my daughter stays out of it. Her name, her face, everything. She's not part of this story. Agreed. And Coda, he's not a weapon. He's not a threat. He's a service animal who responded to an assault. That's the truth. I understand. Then let's get this over with. Sarah positioned herself beside Maya, angling so the camera could capture both of them. The other reporters crowded closer, but Frank held them at bay with his cane and his glare. We're rolling, Sarah said. Whenever you're ready. Maya took a breath. My name is Maya Torres. I'm a former Navy SEAL. Today at this festival, a man grabbed me twice without my consent. My dog Coda responded with a controlled hold to neutralize the threat. The man was not injured. He was scared. There's a difference. Sarah nodded. Can you tell us about Coda? Where did he come from? Coda was assigned to Naval Special Warfare. He served 3 deployments in Afghanistan and Iraq. His handler was my husband, Master Chief Petty Officer Marcus Torres. Maya's voice didn't waver. Marcus was killed 18 months ago during an overseas operation. Details are classified. But when they brought his body home, they brought Coda too. The dog had been with Marcus when he died. A murmur passed through the gathered crowd. So Coda is more than a service animal to you. Coda is family. He's the last piece of my husband that still breathes. And he's trained to protect. That's not aggression. That's love. Sarah leaned in slightly. The video shows you standing over the man after Coda released him. You didn't seem angry. You seemed calm. How is that possible? Maya thought about the question. When you've been in combat, you learn to control your emotions. Fear, anger, pain, they don't help you survive. What helps is clarity. I knew exactly what was happening. I knew exactly how to handle it. And I knew that the man on the ground wasn't a real threat. He was a bully who had never faced consequences. Do you think he learned something today? I hope so. But that's not up to me. That's up to him. Sarah glanced at her notes. Your daughter performed at the festival today, a song she wrote for her father. Were you aware she was going to sing? Maya's composure cracked, just for a second. No, I didn't know until she took the stage. How did that feel? Like my heart was being ripped out and put back together at the same time. The crowd had grown. Festival attendees had gathered behind the camera crews, watching the interview unfold. Some of them had seen the confrontation. Others had heard Lily sing. All of them seemed to understand they were witnessing something important. Mrs. Torres, what would you like people to take away from what happened today? Maya looked directly into the camera. Don't underestimate people. Don't assume that someone standing alone is weak. Don't put your hands on strangers because you think there won't be consequences. And don't ever mock the service of those who gave everything to protect you. She paused. My husband died, so people like those young men could live in a country where they feel safe enough to make prank videos. That's the price of freedom. But freedom doesn't mean freedom from respect. It doesn't mean freedom from decency. It means responsibility. Sarah lowered her microphone. Thank you, Mrs. Torres. That was exactly what the country needed to hear. The camera lights dimmed. The other reporters surged forward with questions, but Frank blocked them. She's done. Show some respect. Maya turned and walked back toward the festival grounds, Coda at her side. Her hands were shaking. Her heart was pounding. But she felt lighter than she had in months, maybe years. She had told the truth, and she hadn't been afraid. Elena and Lily were waiting by the ice cream cart. Lily ran to meet her, the small American flag still clutched in her hand. Mom, there were so many cameras. I know, baby. Did you tell them about Daddy? I did. Lily beamed. Good. He would have wanted people to know. Elena approached more slowly, her face unreadable. How was it? Terrifying, but necessary. You looked strong. I felt like I was going to throw up. That's what strength looks like sometimes. They walked together through the thinning crowd. The festival was winding down. Vendors were packing up their booths. Children were being carried to cars, exhausted from sugar and sun. But as they passed the main stage, Maya noticed something. A group of people had gathered near the Veterans Memorial. 10, maybe 15. Some were holding candles. Others held small flags. And at the center of the group stood Derek. Maya stopped. Wait here, she said to Elena. Maya, I need to do this. She walked toward the memorial, Coda following. As she approached, the crowd parted. Derek stood facing the bronze statue of a soldier, his head bowed. He heard her footsteps and turned. His face was pale. His eyes were red. The pressure marks on his arm had faded to light bruises. Mrs. Torres. Derek. I didn't know you were here. I wasn't trying to cause more trouble. I can see that. He looked at the memorial, then back at her. I looked up your husband. After the police let us go, I found the articles about his death. Maya didn't respond. He saved 6 people. During the operation, 6 members of his team, and he didn't make it out. I know. I didn't know. This morning I didn't know any of that. I just saw a woman with a dog. I didn't see a widow. I didn't see a mother. I didn't see someone who had given more than I'll ever understand. His voice cracked. I'm sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I'm sorry. Maya studied him for a long moment. Why are you here, at the memorial? Because I wanted to understand. What I disrespected. What I could have. He couldn't finish. Maya stepped closer. You made a mistake today. A serious one. But you're standing here now trying to learn from it. That matters. Does it? Yes. How do you know? Because my husband made mistakes too. Everybody does. What separates good people from bad people isn't perfection. It's what you do after you fail. Derek wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. I deleted all the videos, everything we filmed today. My friends think I'm crazy, but I don't care. We had no right to record those people, to mock them, to treat them like content. That's a good start. What else should I do? Maya looked at the memorial, at the names carved into the stone, at the faces of men and women who would never come home. Live differently. Treat people like they matter, because they do, every single one of them. She turned to leave. Mrs. Torres. She stopped. Your daughter's song. I heard it. From the parking lot after everything happened. Maya waited. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. You should be proud of her. Maya's eyes burned. I am. She walked away back to where Elena and Lily were waiting. Lily grabbed her hand immediately. What were you talking about? The man who Coda held down. He came to apologize. Did you forgive him? Maya thought about the question. I don't know, but I listened, and sometimes that's enough. They made their way to the parking lot. The sun was beginning to set, casting long shadows across the pavement. Maya's truck was parked near the edge, away from the other vehicles. As they approached, Maya noticed someone leaning against the driver's door. A woman in her 50s. Gray hair pulled back in a tight bun. Military bearing that was unmistakable even from a distance. Maya froze. Oh my God. Elena looked at her. What? Who is that? Maya didn't answer. She started walking faster, then running. The woman straightened as Maya approached. Lieutenant Commander Walsh. Maya, what are you doing here? Walsh smiled. It was a rare expression on a face that Maya had only ever seen hardened by command and responsibility. I saw the video. Everyone saw the video. It's been shared by every military page on the internet. I didn't mean for that to happen. I know you didn't. That's why it matters. Walsh looked at Coda, her expression softening. He looks good. Healthy. He is. And you, Maya hesitated. I'm getting there. Walsh nodded slowly. I didn't come to check on you, Maya. I came to tell you something. What? The Navy wants to honor Marcus. Officially. There's going to be a ceremony at Arlington. A medal presentation. The details of the operation have been declassified enough for a public recognition. Maya's legs nearly gave out. When? Next month, if you're willing. Why wouldn't I be willing? Walsh's eyes held hers. Because it means standing in front of cameras again. It means answering questions. It means being visible when you've spent 18 months trying to disappear. Maya looked back at Elena and Lily, who were watching from a distance. I did an interview today. In front of everyone. I know. I watched. It was the hardest thing I've done since he died. I can imagine. But I did it, and I survived. And maybe... Maya paused. Maybe it's time to stop hiding. Walsh placed a hand on her shoulder. Marcus would be proud of you. For today. For everything. You think so? I know so. He talked about you constantly. About how you were the strongest person he'd ever met. About how you pushed him to be better. About how you would be the one to carry on if anything happened to him. Maya's tears fell freely now. I didn't feel strong. Not after he died. I felt broken. Broken things can still carry weight. Sometimes they carry even more. Lily appeared beside them, looking up at Walsh with curious eyes. "Are you a soldier too?" Walsh smiled. "I was. A long time ago. I served with your mommy and daddy." "Did you know my dad?" "I did. He was one of the bravest men I ever met." Lily held up the small flag the Marine veteran had given her. "He gave me this. For Daddy." Walsh knelt down to Lily's level. "Your daddy would love that, and I bet he loved your song too." "You heard it. Someone recorded it. I watched it on the drive here." "Did it make you cry?" Walsh laughed softly. "Yes, sweetheart, it did." Elena stepped forward, protective instinct overriding her curiosity. "We should get Lily home. It's been a long day." Maya wiped her face. "You're right. She's exhausted." Walsh stood. "I'll be in touch about the ceremony. There will be paperwork, logistics, but nothing you can't handle." "Thank you for coming, for telling me in person. It was the least I could do." Walsh looked at Coda one more time. "Take care of him, and let him take care of you." "I will." Walsh walked to her car, got in, and drove away. Maya stood in the fading light. Lily's hand in hers, Coda pressed against her leg, Elena waiting nearby. "Mom? Yeah, baby. What's a ceremony? It's when people gather together to honor someone who did something brave." "Are they going to honor Daddy?" "Yes." "Will there be a lot of people?" "Probably." "Will I have to sing again?" Maya looked down at her daughter's hopeful face. "Only if you want to." Lily smiled. "I want to. I want everyone to know about Daddy." Maya pulled her close. "Then they will, baby. They will." They climbed into the truck, Coda jumping into the back seat beside Lily. Elena took the passenger seat. As Maya started the engine, she glanced in the rearview mirror. The festival was nearly empty now. The flags were coming down. The vendors had packed up and gone. But something had changed. Something inside her had shifted, cracked open, let the light back in. She wasn't the same woman who had walked into that parking lot this morning, terrified of crowds and cameras and memories. She was something else now, something forged in grief and tempered by love. Something that couldn't be broken again. The drive to Arlington took 4 hours. Maya gripped the steering wheel until her knuckles went white. Beside her, Elena checked her phone every few minutes, reading updates about traffic and weather and anything else that might distract from the silence. In the back seat, Lily slept with her head against Coda's shoulder. The dog hadn't moved since they crossed the Virginia state line. His eyes were open, watching, always watching. "You okay?" Elena asked. "No." "Want to talk about it?" "No." Elena nodded and went back to her phone. Maya's mind raced through everything that had happened in the past month. The interviews, the phone calls, the flood of messages from strangers who had seen the video, heard Lily's song read about Marcus's sacrifice. The world had found her whether she wanted it or not. And today, she would stand in front of that world and accept a medal for a man who would never hold it. They arrived at the cemetery just after 9. A Navy escort met them at the entrance. 2 young officers in dress whites who saluted Maya like she was still in uniform. "Mrs. Torres, we're honored to have you today." "Thank you." "Your seats are in the front row. The ceremony begins in 1 hour." Maya nodded. She couldn't find words. The officers led them through the rows of white headstones past the eternal flame, toward a small stage that had been erected near a grove of oak trees. Chairs were arranged in neat lines. Flags hung motionless in the still morning air. Maya stopped when she saw the crowd. Hundreds of people, maybe more. Military personnel in dress uniforms, Veterans in wheelchairs and walkers, families with children, reporters with cameras, all of them here for Marcus. "Mom," Lily tugged on her sleeve. "Are all these people here for Daddy?" "Yes, baby, all of them." "That's a lot of people. Your daddy saved a lot of lives." They took their seats in the front row. Coda lay at Maya's feet, his body tense, his ears rotating toward every sound. He knew something important was happening. He always knew. A hand touched Maya's shoulder from behind. She turned. Frank Holloway stood there, wearing a suit that looked older than Maya. His army cap was tucked under his arm, and his eyes were bright with unshed tears. "Wouldn't miss this for the world," he said. "Frank, you came all this way. Your husband gave everything. The least I can do is show up." He took a seat in the row behind her. More faces appeared. Rachel Odom from the EMT tent. Sarah Chen, the reporter who had given Maya her first interview. Derek standing awkwardly at the edge of the crowd, unsure if he belonged. And then a voice that stopped Maya's heart. "Maya." She stood and turned. 6 men walked toward her, all in dress uniforms, all wearing the trident pin that marked them as Navy SEALs. She recognized every face. They had served with Marcus, deployed with him, bled with him, and one of them had carried his body out of the place where he died. "Chief Ramirez." The tallest of the group stepped forward. His eyes were red. His jaw was tight. "We should have come sooner. After he died. We should have been there for you. You had your own grief to carry. That's no excuse." He reached out and pulled her into a hug. It was the kind of hug that soldiers give each other, fierce and brief, and full of things that words can never say. The other 5 men gathered around, forming a wall of blue and gold. "We're here now," Ramirez said, "and we're not leaving." Maya couldn't speak. She just nodded. Lily appeared beside her, staring up at the men with wide eyes. "Are you Daddy's friends?" Ramirez knelt down to her level. "We are. Your daddy was our brother. Did he talk about me? Every single day. He showed us pictures, told us stories, said you were the bravest little girl in the whole world." Lily beamed. "I'm going to sing for him today. Did you know that? I heard. We can't wait to listen." The ceremony began precisely at 10. Lieutenant Commander Walsh took the podium, her voice carrying across the silent crowd. "We gather today to honor a man who gave everything in service to his country. Master Chief Petty Officer Marcus Torres served with distinction for 15 years. He completed 7 deployments in the most dangerous theaters of war. He received the Silver Star, the Bronze Star with valor, and countless other commendations that can never fully capture his courage." Maya's hands trembled in her lap. "But today, we add one more honor to that list. The Navy Cross, our nation's 2nd highest military decoration awarded for extraordinary heroism in combat." Walsh paused. 18 months ago, Marcus Torres led his team into an extraction mission that went wrong from the start. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and trapped. Marcus made a decision that no commander ever wants to make. He stayed behind to provide cover while his team evacuated 6 wounded operators. The crowd was absolutely silent. He held that position for 47 minutes, alone. Against overwhelming enemy forces, he saved every member of his team, and he paid the ultimate price. Maya's vision blurred. The details of that mission remained classified until recently, but today, the world will know what we have always known. Marcus Torres was a hero, not because he was fearless, but because he was afraid, and he acted anyway. Walsh stepped away from the podium. I now call upon Maya Torres, widow of Master Chief Torres, to accept the Navy Cross on his behalf. Maya's legs felt like they belonged to someone else. She stood. She walked toward the podium. She climbed the 3 steps to the stage. A Navy admiral waited there holding a small box lined with velvet. Inside, the Navy Cross gleamed like a piece of captured sunlight. "Mrs. Torres," the admiral said, "on behalf of a grateful nation, I present to you the Navy Cross, awarded posthumously to your husband for extraordinary heroism." He placed the medal in her hands. Maya looked down at it, at the small piece of metal that represented everything Marcus had given, everything he had been. She thought about the morning he left for his last deployment, the way he had held her too long, the way he had kissed Lily's forehead and whispered something she couldn't hear. She thought about the knock on her door 3 weeks later, the faces of the notification officers, the words that had ended her world. She thought about the 18 months of darkness that followed, the days she couldn't get out of bed, the nights she couldn't close her eyes. And she thought about the festival, about Coda, about standing in front of cameras and telling the truth, about Lily's song, about learning to live again. "Thank you," she said. Her voice was barely a whisper. The admiral saluted. Maya returned to her seat, the medal clutched against her chest. Walsh returned to the podium. "We have one more presentation today, a very special one." She looked at Maya. "Lily, would you please come up?" Maya's heart stopped. She hadn't known. She hadn't known Lily was part of the program. Lily stood up, smoothing her dress with nervous hands. She walked to the stage with the kind of determined stride that reminded Maya so much of Marcus it physically hurt. Walsh adjusted the microphone for Lily's height. "This young lady wrote a song for her father. She performed it at a Memorial Day festival 1 month ago, and the recording has since been viewed over 50 million times. Today, she has asked to sing it again, for all of us." Lily looked out at the crowd. Hundreds of faces, cameras, flags, uniforms, and in the front row her mother holding a medal and crying. "This song is for my daddy," Lily said. "I miss him every day, but I know he's watching, I know he's proud, and I know he wants me to be brave." She took a breath, and she began to sing. "When the stars come out at night, I look up and find your light. You're not gone. You're just away watching over me every day." The same words, the same melody. But here in this place, surrounded by the graves of thousands of heroes, they hit differently. Maya watched her daughter stand alone on that stage, 8 years old, singing for a father she would never see again. And she understood something she had never fully grasped before. Lily wasn't just Marcus's daughter. She was his legacy. Everything he had been, everything he had believed, everything he had fought for it lived on in this small, brave girl with her father's eyes and her mother's stubborn heart. "You taught me to be brave to stand when I'm afraid. And even though you're not right here, I still feel you, Daddy, dear." Veterans wept openly. Officers stood at attention with tears streaming down their faces. Civilians held each other and sobbed. Ramirez, the SEAL who had carried Marcus's body to safety, lowered his head and let his shoulders shake. "Mommy says you're in the sky, flying high where eagles fly. But I know you're closer still in my heart, and always will." Coda raised his head and looked at the stage. A low sound came from his throat. Not a whine, not a bark. Something else. Something that sounded almost like recognition. Maya reached down and placed her hand on his head. "I know," she whispered. "I know you hear him too. So I'll be strong like you told me to. I'll make you proud in all I do. And when I grow up big and tall, I'll remember you through it all." The final note faded into silence. For a moment, no one moved. Then the applause began. Thunderous, overwhelming, a wave of sound that seemed to shake the very ground. Lily stood on that stage, eyes shining, and gave a small bow. Maya was on her feet before she knew she was moving. She climbed the steps, crossed the stage, and pulled her daughter into her arms. "I love you," she whispered into Lily's hair. "I love you so much." "I love you too, Mommy, and Daddy loves us both." "I know, baby. I know he does." Walsh returned to the podium, waiting for the crowd to settle. "Before we conclude, there is one more recognition." Maya looked up, confused. "Today, we also honor a four-legged hero. Military working dog Coda, formerly assigned to Naval Special Warfare, served alongside Master Chief Torres for 4 years. He deployed 3 times, completed over 50 successful missions, and saved countless lives." Coda's ears perked forward. On the day Master Chief Torres gave his life, Coda remained by his side until the final extraction team arrived. He guarded his handler's body against enemy combatants for over an hour. He was wounded twice, but refused to leave. Maya's hand flew to her mouth. She hadn't known that part. No one had told her. For his extraordinary bravery and loyalty, military working dog Coda is hereby awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Medal for Heroism. And an officer approached with a small medal the same size and shape as the ones given to human heroes. Maya knelt beside Coda. "Come here, boy." Coda walked to her side and sat perfectly still. The officer attached the medal to his vest beside the "Do Not Pet" patch. Coda looked at Maya, his eyes brown and deep, and full of something that dogs aren't supposed to feel held hers. "You saved him," Maya whispered. "You stayed with him until the end." Coda pressed his forehead against hers, the same gesture he had learned in Kandahar, the same gesture that meant home. The crowd rose to their feet one final time. Not for Maya, not for Marcus. For a dog who had loved a man so deeply that he was willing to die beside him. The ceremony ended at noon. People began to disperse, but many lingered. They wanted to shake Maya's hand. They wanted to thank her for Marcus's service. They wanted to tell her their own stories of loss and courage and survival. Maya listened to each one. She was tired, emotionally drained, running on nothing but adrenaline and love. But she listened, because that's what Marcus would have done. When the crowd finally thinned, Ramirez approached her one last time. "Maya, there's something else you should know." "What?" He reached into his jacket and pulled out a worn envelope. "Marcus gave me this, before the last mission. He said if anything happened, I should give it to you when the time was right." Maya's hands shook as she took the envelope. "I was going to give it to you after the funeral, but you weren't ready then. You weren't ready for months. But today," he paused. "Today, I think you are." She opened the envelope carefully. Inside was a single sheet of paper, covered in Marcus's familiar handwriting. "Maya, if you're reading this, I didn't make it home. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But I need you to know something. The life we built together was the greatest mission I ever completed. Every day with you was a victory. Every moment with Lily was a gift. I know you're going to hurt. I know you're going to grieve. And I know you're going to want to disappear, to hide, to protect yourself from a world that suddenly feels too dangerous. Don't. The world needs people like you. Strong people, brave people, people who can take a hit and keep standing. Take care of Coda. He loves you almost as much as I do. Let him protect you. Let him remind you that I'm never really gone. And take care of our girl. Teach her what I taught you. That fear is just information. That courage is a choice. That love is the only thing worth fighting for. I'll be watching. From wherever I am, I'll be watching. Always yours, Marcus. Maya read the letter 3 times. Each time the tears came harder. But by the 3rd reading, something else came with them. Peace. Marcus had known. He had always known that this day might come, and he had prepared for it the same way he prepared for every mission. With precision, with love, with unshakable faith in the woman he married. Lily appeared beside her. "What's that, Mommy? A letter from Daddy." "What does it say?" Maya folded the letter carefully and tucked it into her pocket. "It says he loves us, and he's proud of us, and he wants us to keep being brave." Lily nodded solemnly. "We can do that." "Yeah, baby, we can." They walked together through the cemetery past the rows of white headstones toward the car where Elena waited. Coda walked beside them, his metal glinting in the sunlight. His head was high, his ears were forward, his step was steady and sure. He was still on mission. He would always be on mission. And behind them, somewhere in the distance, a flag snapped in the wind, red and white and blue, flying over the graves of heroes. Flying for Marcus, flying for all of them. Maya stopped at the edge of the parking lot and looked back one last time. "I'm going to be okay," she said quietly. Not to Elena, not to Lily, not even to Coda. To Marcus. "I'm going to raise our daughter. I'm going to live our life. And I'm going to make you proud." The wind picked up, rustling through the trees, carrying the scent of summer flowers and fresh-cut grass. It felt like an answer. Lily tugged on her hand. "Ready to go home, Mommy?" Maya smiled, the first real smile in 18 months that didn't hurt. "Yeah, baby, I'm ready." They drove away from Arlington with the windows down and the radio off. Just the 4 of them. A widow who had learned to fight again. A daughter who carried her father's courage in her voice. An aunt who never stopped believing. And a dog who had been trained to protect, but who stayed because of love. The road stretched out ahead of them, long and winding and full of possibility. Maya didn't know what tomorrow would bring. She didn't know if the pain would ever fully fade. She didn't know if she would ever stop reaching for Marcus in the middle of the night. But she knew one thing for certain. She was not alone. She had never been alone. And she never would be again. Because the ones we love never truly leave us. They live on in our memories, in our choices, in the songs our children sing, and in the loyal hearts of the ones who walk beside us, guarding us, guiding us, reminding us every single day that love is stronger than death, that courage is stronger than fear, and that some bonds once forged in fire can never be broken. Not by distance, not by time, not even by the end of everything. Maya Torres drove toward home with her daughter beside her and a hero at her feet. And for the first time in 18 months, she believed that the best was not behind her. It was waiting. Just ahead, where the light was.